Hey, I'm Cordelia Kate, and today I'm going to show you the exact prompting workflow that I use inside Claude to write copy that actually sounds like me. It sounds like I wrote it. It sounds like the kind of thing I'd say, and it actually converts and gets me clients. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a really simple way that's going to hopefully prevent you wanting to chuck your laptop out the window next time you're trying to get that sales promotion done. Because look, the thing is with AI is it's amazing, but what we want to do is use it to elevate our brand, elevate our voice, elevate our humanness, instead of do what everybody seems to be doing by accident right now and use it to steamroll the personality out of their brand. We don't want to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do this the right way around that gets your AI sounding like you. But specifically, we're going to do this on a promotional piece of content, one that is designed to get sales calls, to get people booked in with you to discuss working with you. If you've been using Claude and it keeps coming back dry, it keeps coming back bland, if you've been struggling to get it to really sound like you, to sound like the kind of thing that you would say. I mean, Claude is so much better at this than ChatGPT and Gemini, and definitely better than Llama, but it's still tricky to get it to sound like you, right? Everybody's able to create content easier than ever before, which means the competition right now is so high. It's never been this high. Anyone can do it, right? And so my point is that we want to be doubling down now on the stuff that only you can do. And guess what that is? This sounds so corny. That is being you. So we need to double down on the thing that makes you human and really use that to represent our business and our brand online. It's time to personify the business. That's the underbelly of everything I teach here on this channel. And all of the AI infrastructure is developed on how can we make this more you, more human, and shaped around the thing that is going to enable you to attract the kind of people into your world that know you, love you, want to work with you because you're being you. I don't know if you have experienced this. Most AI agents want to rush to get the job done. They go to step 4 before they've clarified step 1. And so what I'm going to teach you today is going to just basically be to get AI to just slow down a minute, slow down, and let's get the infrastructure right before we pad it out and then add the style to it. We're on incognito mode with Claude. And if you don't know how to access that, by the way, it's the little ghosty man up here. Let me just show you something. Do you know anything about me? Let's just check, because the reason why I'm in here is I want to have a bit of a blank slate without creating a new account. There we go. It doesn't know anything about me. So this is good, because what I don't want to do is show you how to do something on Claude that's been trained and has loads of context about how I want it to write, what my voice is, and all the rest of it. We've got a blank page there and we're not starting from scratch. That is good. Right. So this is what most people do when they come to put a prompt in for something in terms of creating a promo piece of copy. And then nothing massively wrong with it, but they put something in like this, which is like, hey, Claude, write me a 5-day email sequence for my upcoming launch of my new program called Live Pod with You. It's a 6-week program where I install my live show system and help service-based business owners launch their own live show. Make it sound warm and conversational like me with my brand voice, and include subject lines, preview text, hooks, body, copy, CTAs, and a PS line on each one. Email 1 should be the announcement. Email 2 should build curiosity. Email 3 should handle objections. Email 4 should be a case study. And email 5 should be the deadline push. What's wrong with this? We're trying to get it to do too much in one go. What it's likely to do when I press enter on this is it's probably going to push back a little bit. Maybe it's got access to my preferences on here and I ask it to challenge me on everything. And so it's probably going to challenge me rather than make stuff up. Now, if yours doesn't do this, what's likely to happen is it's going to just suddenly start generating a document. You ask it to do something, and before you've even clarified what the substance of it should be, it's generating a document. And that's really annoying because it takes ages for it to generate a document, because it has to create it in HTML code first and then convert it and then display it. And then like 5 minutes later, you're like, okay, that's great. We've got a really pretty polished Claude document, but actually that's not quite what I wanted. And now any surgical edits of that document are timely, because it's not only editing the words, but it's editing the document and the code behind the document and all the rest of it, which is really annoying. I don't know why it does that. So we want to get it to break everything down into stages. And I'm hoping that maybe you're experiencing that yourself, not because I want you to have a shit time with AI, but because I want you to relate to this in the sense that you're like, yeah, I know. I'm always asking it to do stuff, and the output I'm getting is like mediocre at best. The stages we're going to break it down into is structure, substance, and then style. And then packaging can be later. And what I mean by packaging, it means the end result. Is it in a document? Is it in a code box? Has it been emailed to someone? Like, what is that packaging? Now, when I say structure, we want to think about, instead of don't get it to write anything until it has a structure, until it has a framework to apply the writing to. Because otherwise, what it's going to do is going to write without a framework, and then you're not going to get anything that's that great. Now, we have traditional marketing frameworks, but the one that I come back to time and time again is really simple, and it's thinking about, and this is where you just have to do a bit of thinking before you come to AI. And you can do this brainstorming with AI. Let's open up a new incognito chat and start this fresh. And this is how I would do it. Like, I want you to help me define the structure of a 5-day email campaign that we are going to write that aims to get people booking calls to discuss working with me on my new program, Live Pod with You. And then let's come back and tell it what we mean by these things. So do not jump ahead and write anything yet. We are going to do this in stages. Stage 1 is structure. Stage 2 is substance. Stage 3 is style. So what do we mean by structure? So structure is problem, bridge, solution, call to action. So this program, what problem does it solve? How do we bridge the problem to the program? Solution is the program that poses to solve this problem. Solution, the program that poses to solve this problem. So the bridge is a smooth link that connects problem to solution, just so that, you know, there's like a smooth transition. It's very subtle, that bridge, but I'll show you what the bridge looks like when we've got a piece of copy that we can work on. And the call to action, how someone applies. Stage 2 is substance, which is the copy minus the brand voice, Ron Seal style. So it does what it says on the tin, right? It's just clear. It's not been styled and made perfect. It's just clear. Style is brand voice, make it sound like me. And then, you know, stage 4, let's say you were going to put this into a PDF, or you wanted it in a table. At stage 4, we can add in the stage 4 is packaging, and we'll figure this out later. And then you can say to it, so the first thing, help me clarify what the pain solution, hang on, let me change that to problem. So help me clarify what the problem solution is. The problem solution. You want to think about who is your ideal client. Now, when you think about who your ideal client is, think about them as one person. You're not thinking about them as a group of people or mums between the ages of 45 and 55. Man, the spectrum of different people and the different things that are keeping them up at night and all the things in between in that whole demographic is huge. We want to think about one person. The reason why I want to think about one person is so that mentally, psychologically, subconsciously, we know that we can't generalize and we can't put people into boxes. But for marketing, we want to put someone in a box. It helps us to get specific. So we want to think about one person so we can get really specific about what they're going through right now. That specificity is going to allow us to tap into emotion, and emotion is the thing that moves people in business to make decisions, and that we want to be using in marketing to enable people to make decisions through emotion rather than trying to show them how to make them with logic. We don't sell our program because it logically solves the problem. We sell our program because it emotionally solves the problem. And we've got to figure out what that emotion is. So the easiest way to do that is to have an ideal client profile. And that ideal client profile is one singular person, so that consciously you feel able to get really specific. Whereas if you were talking to a group of people, you would generalize. And then you would feel bad about generalizing. You're like, well, I can't stereotype these people there. But for this exercise, we need to put people in a box so that we can get specific. And it's just an exercise. That's all. Like, there's nothing personal. Think about someone you worked with before that you loved rather than an old version of you. That's the best way to do it. If you're new to this, an old version of you is fine, or someone you'd love to work with, but you need to be able to know them really well. So who they are, and then just before and after, like, where are they before working with you and where are they after? And when I say after, I'm talking about the version of after. If They take all your advice, they implement everything you tell them to do, and they're like an agreeable person. Yeah, not someone that you had to force to water, that doesn't do anything, then sits and cries because they didn't do anything. And what about your textbook client that does the thing? So where are they before this? And then where are they after this? And so when you've clarified that, then you have that as the problem and the solution, right? So the problem is that this is where they're at and it's how it's showing up. So for instance, live pod with you, I teach people how to implement my live show system into their business. So the problem is, as an example, yeah, so they want a personal brand and a growing audience, but they are busy with clients doing the doing and don't have time to make loads of video content that they know they need in order to grow their personal brand. Where are they after this? They have a system for running a live show that grows audience and personal brand, whereby they just have to pick a topic and turn up once a week, and the system creates all the copy and makes management of running a live show easier than ever to keep up with. Okay, so who's the ideal client? Business owners who want an online presence and want to build a personal brand. Actually, I'm going to go one foot closer than that, or business owners in the experts industry. Is it experts in industry? In the experts sector. There we go. It's like the information industry. So who's the ideal client? Where are they before? Where are they after? By the way, your program is the gap between before and after, obviously. It's like, where are they before? Where are they after? What's in the middle between those 2 points is my program. I get them there with the program, which contains the features. We don't need to include that. It's obvious. I'm just putting that there for you. So then what are the features? How do we get there? And this is where we now think about the vehicle. How do we get them there? A lot of people go, I run a 3-month coaching program where we have weekly calls and on those calls, we have coaching sessions that help you with X, Y, Z. The problem is, I talk about the vehicle first. We want to talk about the place that we're going to. What's the destination? Like where we are now, where are we going to? And then what the vehicle is to get us there. So the features are, it's 6 weeks, 1 times 2 hour calls per week. They get a system, they get a research machine. They also get a 90-minute one-to-one call to conceptualize their show. Okay, so let's call it, that is the features for how I deliver them from here to there. Yeah. So now we've got, just to go through this prompt, just to show you from bird's eye view, we're telling it what we want it to do. And the only thing we're missing here is role. Let's add that in at the top. You're a copywriter on my team and you've been assigned a task to write a promo campaign for our new group program. I want you to help me define the structure of a 5-day email campaign. We are going to write the aims to get people booking in calls to discuss working with me on my new program, Live Pod with You. Bit repetitive now, but it doesn't matter. The only thing that just really clear, we've told it what we expect from it, what we want it to be, and we've told it what we want it to do. And we also have made it clear what our outcome is for that as well, which is important. Guardrail. This is called a guardrail, where you put a thing in to prevent it from doing something that you expect it might do, or you come back later and you add a guardrail in because it did something you didn't want it to do. That's what guardrail means. The guardrail here is, do not jump ahead and write anything yet. We are going to do this in stages. Stage 1, structure. We've given it a structure to follow. Stage 2, substance. We've told it what we mean by that. Stage 3 is style, which is adding the voice, etc. And stage 4 is packaging. We'll figure this out later. So the first thing, help me clarify what the problem or solution is. So we've put that in, and then we've asked it to clarify that. It's going to come back and forth with some information that it's missing and things that it needs. Okay, good start. Before we lock in the structure, let me poke a few things. Because it's saying poke a few things, that's why I know it's because it's taken it from my poke holes in my reasoning. But because I think the problem solution needs sharpening. It does, you're right, before we can write a campaign that actually converts. What's working? The after state is clear and tangible. Pick a topic, turn up once a week. System handles the rest is a strong promise. That's the hook. What needs work? The problem is too surface level right now. They're busy and don't have time to make video content. It's true, but the same problem. So now I can kind of get into like my thoughts a little bit more and go back and forth and really have like a good dig into this with Claude to get a good positioning. And, you know, I'm not going to, by the way, just to let you know, Opus 4.7 is wordy as hell. Like it is wordy. It writes essays to you. You could say to it, be more brief. That's very wordy, and it's just going to cut down on what it's saying, because it really is very wordy. Okay, so things to sharpen before we move on. The problem is generic. Once a personal brand is vague and the CTA is unclear. Sure. Why do they really want a personal brand? What's the campaign actually selling? Or is this? Okay, so I'm just going to pick an angle. And obviously, like with your product and with your business, there are so many angles into so many things. And you need to test them. You need to test different angles, different reasons, different emotional hooks into why someone wants your product. And there could be like 7 roads into your product being a solution. And there definitely are with having a live show. You know, somebody might really want a personal brand because they're genuinely scared of everything becoming so easy with AI. And they already know that having a personal brand is the best way to be human right now. But then somebody else might not know that. And they're like, oh no, I just need a way to build an audience. And I know video is the way, but I can't keep up with creating all of this video content. And then there's a completely different angle. There is the content treadmill angle where somebody's just on the content treadmill all the time, like trying to think of the next bit of content they need to put out on social media. And it's exhausting. And the content they're putting out isn't even doing anything. And so they need a system for creating content that not only is keep upable, but also converts, right? And so there are so many different angles and so many different ways we can go down. For the purpose of this, we've chosen the personal brand angle. So we're going to stick with that. So personal brand, why do they really want a personal brand? Because I'm going to get specific and speak about one person now, because my ideal client, let's call her Sophie, really wants to leave a legacy for her children. She wants her daughter, I've said children, so let's go daughters, to grow up knowing she can be, do, or have whatever they want if they trust in themselves and go for it. She is scared of where the future is going for her children, and so wants to carve out a path that shows them that they can create something for themselves. And finally, she wants them to be proud of her. That's really underneath what's driving her, right? So it's like when we get into stuff like that and we were like, that's quite emotional. And a lot of people that want to leave a legacy is kind of that there is some kind of thread that is along those lines. And the really good thing about this is we're getting into the emotional reason behind it. If we can start to understand the emotional reason underneath why someone will make a decision, we can connect with them on such a better level, and we're going to get much better conversions. That's gold. That's the emotional spine of the whole campaign. Now, the problem isn't I need more content. It's I'm running out of time to build something my daughters will be proud of, and the way I'm currently doing it isn't working. That reframes everything. The campaign isn't about content systems or personal brands. It's about legacy, and the mechanism happens to be a live show. Before I move on, 2 quick things to confirm. Campaign CTA. It shouldn't know about my full program, but fine. Incognito foiled. It's fake incognito mode. Campaign CTA. So let's say we're going to promote the full program in the copy, and then the call to action will be to apply. And then you have a live show call, which is free, to discuss whether this is the thing for you. The system produces topic research, promo materials, speaker notes, copies for live stream caption, repurposing system. Locked in. Here's the structure for stage 1. Okay, so the problem. Sophie wants to build something her daughters will be proud of. She knows visibility and personal brand are the path, but she's stuck. Client work eats her week. The content she does post dies after a day, and build a legacy keeps slipping down the list. Time is the resource she can't get back, and right now she's spending it on work that doesn't compound. Bridge. The problem isn't effort. Sophie works hard. The problem is that one-off content is a leaky bucket. To build something lasting, she needs a system that turns one decision a week into a compounding asset, not another to-do. Solution, live pod with you. A 6-week program where Sophie gets a live show up and running with a system behind it that does the heavy lifting. She picks a topic, turns up once a week, and the system delivers data-backed topic research, promo materials for every episode, speaker notes to prep her, live stream caption copy, repurposing into YouTube and Reels. What she gets: 2-hour weekly group calls to build it together, a 90-minute one-to-one vision call to sign her show, and a full system she keeps. Call to action, apply for a free live show call to find out if live pod with you is right for you. One thing to flag before stage 2, the call to action is 2-step ask, apply then call. That's heavier than a single book a call link. Yeah, so CTA can just become apply, which goes to a form, just to simplify that, because after the form, it can load the calendar page, whatever. And then I think with this, so one thing that is missing, and this is where this is why it's really good to do it in this way: structure first, then substance, and then style. rather than trying to get everything all in one go and then getting this output, and you're trying to make it sound like you, but you're trying to make it be structured in the right way all at the same time. And by the way, one of the problems that AI has is that once it's produced something, when you ask to edit it, what it's often doing is it's editing the substance, not the structure. So you can be back and forth for hours, but it's still not right because the structure's wrong, because it's editing the substance, but it's not editing the structure. And so what you need to then do is tell it to rip it up and start with another blank page and start again. And that's because there's a structure issue. And so if you get the structure right, it's so much easier to get the substance and then the style right afterwards. So what I would do at this point is, I've already seen we've got something missing that's actually really current and would do really well right now. Okay, so something to add into the problem is that everyone's talking about personal brand right now being the only way to really future-proof yourself. Let's just add in as an entrepreneur from a saturated marketplace because of AI. And this is really true. I mean, we're getting to a point where because of AI, because it's so easy to create content, what we really need to double down on is the human stuff. And that really is personal brand rather than just brand, because it's so easy to create a brand and start creating a faceless company. Because of that, loads of people are doing it, and loads of faceless stuff is coming out. There's loads of faceless TikTok accounts, faceless YouTube accounts, faceless marketing, people generating a revenue from traffic to those sources. But the problem is that's going to become more and more and more and more saturated, which means that the competition is higher and higher and higher because it's easier and easier to do. And the thing that we are going to gravitate towards is the stuff that's harder to replicate. And that is the stuff that's really human and really real. And realness is where it's at right now, and where it's going to be at more and more. So now is the time really to be focusing on, where can I be as real as possible so that I'm standing out in this AI saturated future that is coming at us as fast as a train. Updated structure. Sophie wants to build something her daughters will be proud of. And right now, every voice in her feed is saying the same thing. In an AI saturated market, the personal brand is the only real moat left. The people with audiences win. The people without one disappear. She knows this. She's known it for a while. But client work, the only thing I'd add in is that this is a new urgency for her. You know, the urgency is already in the story, isn't it? She wants to leave a legacy for her daughters. Her daughters are growing up. She hasn't got the foundations of that in place. And now we've got this new urgency come in, which is AI and this saturate. So we're starting to paint a real picture of like something she wants, and the reason why this is something that she needs that's going to solve that problem for what she wants. The reason why I'm editing this rather than adding it in later is just because it's just a structural ad that we might as well add in as an edit rather than oh, by the way, change later. Okay, so updated structure. Sophie wants to build something her daughters will be proud of. She knows visibility and a personal brand are the path, and right now there's a new urgency. Every voice in her world is saying personal brand is the only real moat against AI saturated marketplace. The window to build one is closing, but she's stuck. Client work eats her week. The content she does post dies after a day, and build a legacy keeps slipping down the list. She's working hard on the wrong kind of content. One-off posts don't compound, and time is the resource she can't get back. So you see how we're emotionally connecting to what is going on for her and how that is. And then we've got the bridge and we've got the solution and the call to action. Stage 1 done, ready for stage 2. That is the hard work. Ladies and gentlemen, the hard work is done. We just type go, and it's now going to give us the substance. Now, the stage after substance is going to be style. And this is where we need a voice prompt. Now, a voice prompt is where you get AI to analyze your voice and create you a writing style that works to sound just like it was written by you. I'm going to use mine. If you don't have one that you ready to use, I have a video that teaches you about this, and it is called How to Get Claude to Write Like You. We now have the substance for the 5 emails. We've got email 1, the legacy problem, why content isn't working, what a live show actually does, and the system. And they're quite small, they're quite short, but that's quite good. What we'd probably do with this kind of campaign is also make a sales page that's got loads of information on it and all the things, and then have the apply button on the sales page. So if we were going to do that, we'd just slightly change the call to action, which is to go and read more and go and learn more about the program. And then on that page would have a button that takes people to a call to action. You either have long emails with lots of information in about everything that people need to know to give them all the context, or you have short emails that lead into a page that gives them the context. And yeah, I hear that the short emails versus long page is better than the long emails versus no page. But there we go. So email 1, the legacy problem. What do you want your kids to remember you for? You started your business for a reason. That goes beyond money. You wanted to build something. You want your kids to grow up watching you do work that matters on your terms. You want to leave them proof that they can build something too. But right now, most of your week goes on client work. The build something bigger stuff keeps slipping. You know you need visibility. You know personal brand is no longer optional, especially. So what I would say about this is that, like, we've got the positioning right and all of that, but I would say 2 things. So 1, don't accidentally become a manipulative marketer that uses the kids' legacy story to make people feel guilty. That's just context so that you understand what they want. Number 2 is paint the picture without being so direct with you statements. I think another thing that we're missing as well is the structure of the email campaign, and that I probably picked too large a thing for us to create. What we probably should have done is just create one promo post. This is what I would do at this point, actually, is say, instead of so when we were at the substance bit here where we got the structure bit, say, perfect, we now need the structure for the email campaign, and then each individual email. Then we can do substance of each email. And I would say this is a great example of, like, here's an email that is just a little bit lacking. It's really calling out the problem without there really being it's not very well done. And then also it's just a bit on the nose, basically, and that it's not very long. This week, I'm going to walk you through how I think about this. And at the end, I'm going to show you something I've built that solves it. If you already know you want in the application form is here. Like, this is an example of something that's writing without any structure. So it's got structure on what the problem is, but it doesn't have a structure on what the email should be. So then we basically need to create that. So we go through and create the structure of the emails and then get it to write each individual email. So email 1, name the new agency, and then email 2, email 3, email 4, and email 5, what's going to happen on each of those, and then the structure within each email. It's given us some things to push back on. The structure is the hook, the story, insight, the bridge, the call to action. And we want to have, okay, so let's go with this structure. We want to say 5-day campaign, that's email structure. We want to the hook, the story, the bridge, the call to action, and the PS could just get a little bit shortened. So the hook, that's great. The story or insight, the meat, so whatever that day's job is, bridge to program. So instead of light or heavy, depending on the day, always assume they have no context of what this program is. And the reason why that is important is because even if you're sending stuff to warm people that know you and are on your email list and they're reading your emails, you don't want to assume that they know what this program is, unless you're going to do a targeted campaign where you're targeting people that have opened and clicked and you know that they've seen stuff. Otherwise, you're going to alienate people that are like, that sounds interesting, but I have no idea what she's talking about. So we want to always have, this is something that is people do a lot, is that they write stuff assuming that people have context, always assume people have no context. Call to action, apply via the form, and then sign off, yours rebelliously, Cordelia. And then it's optional, you strategically use for the days when the main email is story-led and you need a direct ask reinforced. Okay, fine. So we've got that email structure, and let's just see, because we've made it pause and think about structure. Let's see if the output is now better in terms of the substance. Yeah, this is much better. I can tell already just by glancing at it. Okay, email 1, the wake up. Subject, the window is closing. Everyone is saying the same thing right now. Personal brand is the only real moat against AI. If you're an expert running a business, you've heard it from every direction this year. AI is flattening the marketplace. The work you do can be replicated by a tool. The thing that can't be replicated is you, your voice, your point of view, the fact that people know who you are. That's why every business coach, marketer, and strategist is shouting about personal brand right now. It's the moat. But here's what nobody is saying out loud. The window to build one is narrowing. The people building visibility now are the ones who will be impossible to compete with in 2 years. Everyone else will be fighting for scraps in a market where AI has commoditized their expertise. If you're an expert who knows you need to be visible and you've been telling yourself you'll get to it when client work calms down, this is the email that says client work isn't going to calm down. The moat gets harder to dig the longer you wait. I run a program called Live Pod with You. It's a 6-week thing where I help experts launch a live show with a system behind it that handles the heavy lifting. You pick a topic, turn up once a week, and the system delivers your topic research, promo, speaker notes, captions, and repurposing. It's how you build the moat without burning out. If you want to know more, reply here. Now, that's brilliant. I actually think this is really good. We've really connected to the emotion here without being too on the nose, without being manipulative. We're just calling it what it is. We're just speaking about the situation as it stands, but in a way that is emotionally connecting. I can see that people would probably feel that connection too. So the thing that's a bit thin is the bridge and the call to action. And this is where we then push back and get it to add in more details. But that's going to be good and easy to do because the structure is good. The structure's there. And now we just need to tweak the substance. And so if you go ahead and do that, you're going to find it much easier to get a really, really good output. Now, the next thing then, we're going to pretend all those emails are fine. And we're just going to have a look at email 1 for this. And then let's add in, I've got my voice prompt here that I created with the video that I just told you about a minute ago. And I'm going to go now style, and I'm just pasting my voice prompt here. And my voice prompt, by the way, includes some, like, I like to be a bit funny. I think I'm funny sometimes, hopefully, often a bit cringe, and also speak like a human. You want AI to speak like a human, but you need to tell it how to speak like you can't just say speak like a human and be like, okay, human mode activated. Like, you need to teach it what that is, what that means. And so that is included in this prompt as well. And you have all of that in the playbook for create your voice profile. So let's have a look at it with the style now. Email 1, the wake up. The window is closing. Everyone is saying the same thing right now. Personal brand is the only real moat against AI. You've heard it from every direction this year. Every business coach, every marketer, every LinkedIn thought leader with a ring light. Personal brand is the moat. AI is flattening the marketplace. The work you do can be replicated by a tool and you can't. And they're right. They're actually right. That sounds like me. That's like repetitive, using the word actually, like really trying to reinforce what I'm saying by saying it again. But here's what nobody's saying out loud though. The window to build one is narrowing. The experts who started 2 years ago are already the obvious choice in their field. The ones who start this year will be, and by the way, this is subtle, isn't it? The difference is subtle. It's not too far off my voice in the first one. I would say it's very, very similar. And it does feel like me. 6 weeks, I help experts launch a lot. Yeah, it's great. So, I could add in a little bit more humor, but I don't think it's relevant for this. It's supposed to be a serious post. So that's probably why it hasn't done that. I'm kind of happy with that. The only thing that I would do, as I've said, at substance stage, I would go back and forth on this bridge and call to action. That's the point. Where's the solution? Bridge, call to action. It's interesting. It missed that off. That's probably why it's thin, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, interesting. It's missed it off. I didn't notice that first. You've missed off solution in your structure. Okay, so Live Pod with You is a 6-week program where I help you launch a live show with a system behind it that handles the heavy lifting. You pick a topic, turn up once a week, and the system produces topic research, promo materials, speaker notes, live. Okay, well, that's fine. Let's now go stay with email 1. Right, so this one was undo style. And then I'm going to put my voice prompt below, and then it's going to style that one. Every expert in your industry is being told the same thing right now. Personal brand is the only real protection against an AI saturated market. And honestly, they're right. Live Pod with You is my 6-week program where I help you launch a live show with a full system sitting behind it doing the heavy lifting. You pick a topic, you turn up once a week. The system produces the topic research, the promo, the speaker notes, the live stream copy, and repurposed content for your YouTube and Reels. You walk away with the show, the system, and the audience. If you want to know more, apply here and we'll jump on a free live show call to talk it through. Perfect. That'll do. I really hope that this system helps you to create better copy. Just remember, chunk everything down, keep it simple like this. We go structure, substance, then style, and then you can think about packaging afterwards, and just try and create structure wherever you can, so that if you realize you're getting like a bit of an output, you probably haven't got the structure right. There might be something missing in the structure, and that's where you need to begin. The whole output and structure and prompt and everything, I'll put it all together in a playbook for you so that you can use it and implement it. And by the way, once you've done that, ask Claude to turn that system into a skill for you. And then every time you're writing copy, you can just put a forward dash and search for the skill that there is that you've got saved in your skills and get it to use that skill when writing copy. So you don't have to go through the process of programming it on how to write copy every single time. This is one of the great things about Claude. Let me show you that real quick because I think that is tip of the century. Okay, great. Now we have a good email. I want to pause here and ask you to turn this copywriting process into a skill so I can use it to create promo copy for everything in this method moving forwards. It'll understand my weird grammar. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to start building this skill, and it'll take everything that you've done in the conversation, essentially turn it into a prompt that then lives on your computer so that when you then press this forward dash, you've got all these skills. So I've got various skills I've created for loads of things. They're basically just a prompt that gets put into the workflow that you're in when you call it. But there we go. So I hope that helps. However, that's all from me. And let me know how you found this. I will be here for the Marketing Strategy Show doing something with AI to create something cool. Lots of love. Speak soon. Bye.